Hello. Today's video I'm going to talk about this Airfix model, the Hawker Tempest Mark V. A new tooling, I believe, on the older Tempest. This is a fantastic little model that I shall get into and review. Skill level 2, 68 pieces, and the perfect scale, 172. Quick description there, this was a brute of an aircraft. I won't say much more about it than that. There are two schemes that you get with this one with the decals. The first is what I would call the D-Day one, June 1944, from number 150 wing. And the second is a Royal New Zealand Air Force scheme, 486 Squadron, Cambridgeshire, April 1944. Great little schemes there for a great little aircraft. As you'll probably see in this video, I deleted a lot of videos by mistake, so I've got some photos of the box and a quick description there, and unfortunately that's about as much as I've got. Opening it up, we get the instructions now. Again, there's a lovely bits of description and specifications up the top there. I always quite like those. It's always quite fun to read, and at the end of the day, that's part of what this hobby is about, isn't it? I always find it's just getting into a bit of the history, understanding it. Hornby hobbies, because I'm a Hornby fan, got to put that in there. But it's the usual sort of moulds, but again, these are very crisp, very good moulds. So you can definitely see they've been slightly updated from, well, what is now the more dated Tempest mould, which I don't have anymore, unfortunately. I had that one as a kid. It's all there. I was about to say all in black and white, but no, it's all in grey. So I always start off with painting a few of the smaller bits first. So I've done that sort of interior bit of the body itself with that metallic grey, just so effectively so that's done. It saves me having to faff about with trying to get a brush inside once I've glued it all together. A lot of people will paint the whole thing. To be fair, that probably is a much better idea. I just don't have the patience or the talent really for doing it quite so well. But I do give the pilot a little coat of paint. I've used some RAF matte. I can't remember the colour now. I'm sure you're probably not interested. Again, some of the little smaller elements there in that metallic colour. The wheels. Why do you get two wheels for this one? But it'll just show one set on the instructions. Obviously, it only has one set of front wheels. But I don't know quite what the differences are there. I'm sure there must be. And then we get to put the little pieces together. Always the tricky parts, these fiddly bits. I apologise that my camera skills aren't brilliant, but what is nice about this set is it's got the little pegs and little holes you can just slot the bits in. Again, just make sure that they're held in there, because I've done that before where they slip and then it all goes over the place. Then we get to the next bit, which is putting the two sides of the fuselage together. Again, they clip in very nicely. Just got to make sure that you've filed it down at some of the little pegs that we use to cut off, etc. But yeah, it does. You do have to hold these together still, which is like in the classic days. They don't stay together, clearly. You've got to really hold them in once it's glued. You can just see it's got a little bit there, which I will file that one down shortly. In fact, I'll cut it off. Why not? Why not do it that way? As you see, the pilot, I put a little bit more paint on there. That's probably about as best as I'm going to get it. I'm not a particularly very skilled painter when it comes to that. Then we have the wing, the lower part of the wing. The way the wing and the fuselage fits together on this model is really quite good. As you can see, I initially tried putting this in the wrong way, so I'll quickly skip to the next part where I put it right. I then opted to actually look at the instructions and put it the right way into place. And that sticks in very nicely. You do get the option of putting the wheel flaps or whatever they're called in. I haven't done that because I'm going to have the wheels down. But the real beauty of this model is how this fits into the fuselage itself. So I put the tops of the wings on now, and it just slots in like so. You do have to just get a little bit of pressure to clip it in, but it really does go in very nicely, and it is already looking fairly nice. In my opinion, great mould, great model. A little bit of gaps there, which I probably need to work on in future. So I've got a little bit further on now. I've got the wheels on, and I'm just going to give it a bit of a paint. Now, the great thing about these models is they really can be what you want. 9 times out of 10 I don't tend to get what I want because I change my mind halfway through, because I'm that kind of person. Nevertheless, I'm putting this bit of a sort of base layer paint on it, I guess. Probably need to actually thicken it up a little bit there, give it a bit of a stir, but I just crack on, why not? In fact, that paint just looked very runny when I look back at it. But here we are now with some of the green camouflage that I've applied. It's beginning to take shape. Got a couple of nose pits there. I painted them both. Obviously you only need one, but it's beginning to look the part. And here is the finished result. I did film a video of myself putting the decals on, but I accidentally deleted it, so never mind. The decals themselves were quite tricky for me, I find, to put them on. The D-Day stripes, I'm not entirely happy with how I managed to get them on. There's a couple of gaps, there's a couple of tears in them, and there's still a few air bubbles, but on the whole, they seem to have sat down okay. Very tricky. I found that quite a difficult part. But the result, I really do like the Tempest. I used to be a real Typhoon fan, but my head has been turned because I am clearly very fickle. Here's my Typhoon that I built as part of the D-Day diorama set. Again, I do like this aircraft, but the shape of the wings, do you know what? That profile that the Tempest has just looks beautiful. But the model, the Airfix kit, fantastic. Really was a good fun model to make. Did it over the course of 2 nights. And do you know what? I will certainly be getting another one of these. I'd like one to be in the flight profile as well with the wheels up. And do you know what? I was going to do another one without the D-Day stripes, but I actually think it looks fairly decent with the stripes on. Lovely kit. You can definitely see the improvements on the tooling over the older versions. The way it comes together just feels more slick, if that's the right way of putting it. But here it is on my small D-Day airfield diorama. Yeah, it looks the part. I'm pleased with that. I don't mean to say that about my modelling skills. I mean as a kit, it's a lovely kit. And yeah, those stripes really bring it alive, don't they? They do look good. So, Airfix fans, Hawker Tempest Mark V, thoroughly recommend. Great model, great kit, great fun.